Alright, what is up everyone? In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to play the new buffed Warwick in the jungle. So Warwick Q got buffed, so its clear speed is increased throughout all levels, which is actually a pretty big buff. And so far from my games of learning and picking up this champion, I can say that he's okay. He's a bit better. He's better in the sense that his early game is actually quite strong. I find his clear speed is much better. And after, the hardest thing about playing Warwick is actually just the weirdness of it. Like, there's so much hidden mechanics that I'm going to talk about in this video, but that's like a very big thing that you have to remember. So here we're going to start Q and go W level second. So the big thing about Warwick is there's two parts to his Q. You can press it once to do that click, and you press it again, you do like a longer one, which is more of a lunge, which follows targets. And your W is a passive and active. So the passive you see there is when something gets below half, you get attack speed. When they get below 25%, you get even more. And also when champions get low, so if champions get below the threshold, 50%, they also give up this sense, the blood sense. So that's a big thing about playing him, is understanding how that all interacts. So if I see someone low here, it's actually going to set a trail, and I can use it. If I want to activate it, it'll just automatically trail someone. And this is a big part about playing Warwick. That's why you're generally going to put 3 points into his W, and then max Q is what I find to be most effective. So here we have the blood trail activated, so pretty much that tells us exactly what we need to know. This guy's below half, so his trail is actually online. So here I'm going to start the blue, and after blue I'll probably look for a play. We see Viego topside. It's interesting, so that just gives us good information. If I want to gank, I can gank. Warwick gank, I would say, is quite effective. If anyone is pushed up, you can actually gank quite well. But if there's nothing going on, just farm, just farm, just farm. This champion's extremely weird, so you have to like be ready to just be able to play the kind of like weirdness of the champion. So I think the Viego might have not farmed his bot side yet, so maybe we can actually invade him here and see what's going on. We'll probably play for crap. You can't really full clear well. I mean, ideally I do 3 plants into a play here where they're playing aggressive, so I can blood send in a second here. So we're gonna ping, we're gonna be on the way, we're gonna blood send. So we're gonna go in here and try to get whatever kill we can. We get the fear off. Once they start to get lower, your autos just start to go fast and fast. And if you hold the Q, you see how you follow people. That's a cool thing about Warwick, is your W, when you hold the Q, if someone dashes or flashes, you're actually able to go with them pretty much like a ride, like a carnival ride. It's a very important thing when you're playing against stat champions. You hold Q. If you're just in melee range, you might as well just do the fast Q, because it's just important to kind of get the fast Q going. Here I think it works. Viego's probably on red or something, so I'm just going to drop my ward here and see. I should have pushed it a bit further. Usually I put it here so I can see the raptor camp, but I think he's on red right now. So people are getting low. You can see the indicator. Here you go Tiamat. Generally you just want Tiamat so you can actually clear fast. Once you get Tiamat, your Q applies on hit effects, your passives on hit effects. There's just so much on hit effects that are a big part about this champion. And the thing about this movement speed we're getting, if they're even lower, 25%, it's even more. But what you have to remember is if you take damage, you pretty much lose it. So it's not that reliable if you expect to keep it the whole time, but it helps you even see where people are. So here I can see, oh, Katarina's here. It's a very broken ability, but the rest of the kit just feels a bit clunky. So I ward spots that here. I'm just going to Q here. She's getting low enough where we can most likely affect her lane. So here we're going to look to go mid here. Because we have a good buy, we're actually okay with this situation. I'm going to fear him, and now we're just going to right click him down. Q, hold the Q down, just keep continuously take that range. And that's just a kill. You see, you E initially, when you press E, it gives you 35% damage reduction, as you can see. And if you press it again, it activates the fear. But if you just leave it on, eventually it automatically activates the fear. Pretty much you want to kind of use it and then use the fear to give you like a couple more autos. Generally is how I utilize it. If I can get on Q range, you can get a fear afterwards, which is pretty cool. You usually want to max this last because the damage reduction does go up, but that's pretty much all you get. So So as you see, this thing drops lower and lower. It's actually gonna be easy for us to kill. A W just in case. When you W, it activates it, so it pretty much gives your passive no matter if the target is below half or not. It just gives you your passive, as you can see. Warfare briefly senses all enemies and gains the ability passive effect against the closest strand for 8 seconds, regardless of health. You cannot use this ability while in combat. So you pretty much hear what it said. Oh yeah, when they drop below 25%, you're like your nails, claws. He has claws. Warwick has claws, man. Look at those bad boys. And your passive, as you're out of combat, it actually ticks faster, so you pretty much get it quite fast. It has like a weird condition to it. So here I like going like tier 1 boots. We're going into the blade build. Blade is just essential in Warwick. Oh wow. So Blade's essential in Warwick. Why? Because he just has a lot of on-hit effects, and his passives, he runs off of the Blade. Like, he's relevant because of Blade. Actually, Divine Thunder is quite nice too. So my two builds that I think you should either try or do is pretty much Blade into Jack Show for tankiness with the Titanic third, or you can go like Blade into Divine Thunder into Titanic, or Blade into Titanic. Those are your best options. Those are the builds I think actually perform the best. But pretty much Blade first is usually always good. What's really nice about the Titanic is, you know, we're going team out anyway, so might as well just get the Titanic afterwards. I personally like Divine Thunder. It's super good later in the game. If you get away with it. If your early game is really bad, probably don't go for Divine Thunder, but you should still go for the Titanic because of all the on-hit effects we talked about. So here I clear one side of my jungle. For Warwick, honestly, you don't want to force anything. You just want to farm gently and just kind of like bait objective fights. You could invade though. Invading is actually quite good on him because, in my opinion, I think invading is actually quite good because he's strong 1v1. He's a very strong 1v1 champion. So here I'm going to send him right away and we're going to get the passive effects. See, we're kind of trailing him. So we're going to E into the fear and just get him really low. Just pretty much A move him at this point. Katarina does a bit more damage than we got in already. We got ready to go. But overall, I mean, you just have to... You're not going to get... Like, the way I look at it, the way I will explain it to you. If you're playing Warwick, there's no getting out of the fight. You're fighting or you're dying. There is no in between. So we do 3 points W into Q max. Q max is just... You know, I think the healing is really important if you're trying to survive. It's a big factor on this champion. You see the movement speed we get when targets are low. We can easily dive this person. If I wanted to go right now, I could go. So I'm just going to smite this and go. A lot of times I find old rocking to be very counterproductive. I find it to be very tricky. So here we see the move. So it only works in the direction of them. So... Oh, the trap was... Oh, that trap was clean, bro. I was hoping to one-shot him. That was kind of like the Q flash combo into the fear. If I killed that Maokai, he got healed though. So lucky. But listen, I like to live an ambitious life. If you don't play the dog's trail, you're never gonna reach the dog heaven. Nailed it. I could play for Herald, but bot side's winning pretty hard. Plus mid is winning pretty hard, so I do want to generally play around that. Crab is up, so I'm going to probably do Grom first into a Crab timer. You are very squishy with this build until you start to get your HP items, but let's say if we play the game in a 1v1 versus like 1v1s and 1v2s, it's actually very easy to kill people and survive. Because you have a lot of lifesteal, right? A lot of lifesteal is pretty much survivability in a sense. That's why I say you have to really fight your way, fight your way out of situations. Unfortunately, that's the only way. Check his camp timers. Okay, Pink is here, so he's actually here. So I think he might fight bot side here. So maybe we go for a play here. So here's a bit of a counter gank. I think his counter ganking is good. This guy was on Crux, so we can actually know that right away. So there's two options to what's happening here. One, he based after he did Crux, or two, he's here waiting. But I think he based because he's not trying to gank bots, so I'm gonna just do Dragon. I think Warwick's more of an objective fighter, so we have to categorize him into like, you should play for objectives on this champion because you just heal like 100. You just do it relatively quick and sustain wise. You're just healthy on it. They're fighting, but I'm on Dragon, so we just commit to what we're first, our primary mission. I'm gonna do my damage reduction. I got a scent going, so we're gonna follow this trail wherever it goes. The nose is never wrong. See, the trail never ends. It just continuously goes. So you see, I can just flip back and go for it again. The trail never lies. The blood scent. Vega, you smell so good, Vega. Alright, I have blades, I'm actually really strong. Katarina. Is it that time, Katarina? Warwick knows everything. He knows things about you you've never known. But overall, I think his champion he's a bit clunky. He can be very hit or miss. I think later in the game, you just end up being like a fight whatever is in front of you kind of bot, which I personally don't like, but if you guys like this kind of playstyle, it can be good for you. I think the more exciting thing about this champion is the fact that you can just go like, you can always just like super speed everywhere. So here, when people start to get low, you can just super speed it, which is kind of cool. So here I always want to kind of start with like my E to get the fear going. And then with the blade autos, just kind of like right click them down. And you see how funny it is, right? Just right click them down. It's actually quite easy, but the clunkiness is what really gets, like what would really be difficult for this champion to... You have to get through that kind of clunkiness barrier, and then champion performs quite well. But I think the Q buffs are pretty big. I don't hate how... I think he's quite strong, so I don't hate it. Ooh, I thought I could kill him and then kill his girlfriend, but unfortunately I got ignited. The healing would have been like insane there, and that was like a heal just Nirvana angle there. I think we're gonna go Titanic second this game. I think Divine Thunder third. I think because we already have Tiamat, the speed in which we can finish the Titanic is just quicker, and I think Titanic just gives us that HP we really need. When I feel like if I go too squishy, I don't like it. I feel like second item has to be like I could go Jack Show, but I don't like going so defensive second item. I'd rather just go Titanic, you know? Keep like relative damage going. I find him like Warwick, you do want to snowball is what I find. Like I think you just have to like try to keep like fighting. Like you want to spike in mid game, not late game. Like going Jack Show is like a little bit of a late game spike, which I don't think he's that good late game. I think he's better mid to like mid early game. So your goal is to just go mid early. Here they're fighting bot side, so I'm just gonna push the wave. We have Tiamat, right? So it's like perfectly okay for us to just push this wave. We actually push really quick too. They literally killed without me. You know that feeling whenever like your team does well without you? It feels good, but it also feels kind of sad. Like your input, like your impact in the game wasn't important enough. But listen, a win's a win. I don't care personally, but like I do feel that sorrow inside when you don't get that kill. They actually gave up, but like the build would have done this and get to like a DD with some MR. I think the Warwick buffs are actually pretty good. I think if you like Warwick as a champion, I think this is the best way to play him with like the lethal tempo and everything. And I think just playing with like the mindset of how his spells kind of work is really important. You have to understand the interactions to his abilities. But I would rate him like an okay pick. I think he's solid, better than he was before. But I'd rather, if you're going to play Warwick, you should pick up Briar. If you're not playing Briar already, you're just not doing the right thing in life. So hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in my next videos. Good luck in your games. Take care. Bye-bye.